Hey everybody, welcome along to the Monkey Barrel Comedy Chat Show. I'm your host, George Fox, and this week I have the wonderful, wonderful John Hastings as our guest.
Hi everyone, I thought the podcast started a while ago.
Yeah. We've been saying such wild things.
Certainly. Oh, we did a real classic, we did some bridge burning talk, you know what I mean? We got the staff to reveal who the likes and dislikes of various Edinburgh Fringe festivals. Oh yeah.
We know everyone that's good and bad on this.
Oh my God, yeah, some real
shit.
Yeah, that guy George Fox. Let me tell you right there. Yeah, yeah. Let me just say a sentence about that George Fox. I'm fine that he's dying. Wait, what?
Good. No, okay.
Who are you?
We'll go straight into that. Okay, so we've got like a little kind of bio for you here. So over the last 14 years, you've been doing comedy.
I can see where you got this bio. That bio is 4 years old.
Perfect.
It's 18 years.
I don't even think that's the oldest one we've had. We've had ones that are like, this person's an up-and-coming comedian. They were not an up-and-coming comedian. They are very much
this
here.
This wry upstart just almost got nominated for the best newcomer at the Edinburgh Fringe. And you're speaking to Al Murray, the pub landlord. And you're like, all right, maybe we should probably update this.
So where did you start comedy?
I started in a little city called Montreal, Quebec, Canada, home of the Just for Laughs festival.
I know Montreal for video games. They made a lot of them there.
Of course, they make so many
Assassin's Creed games.
They make all the Assassin's Creed games. I know a bunch of people that worked on those games. Last time I was in Montreal, there was a massive Me Too scandal at the top of Ubisoft.
I remember that.
Can I just say, as we roll through, is anyone who gets to the top of anything not a horrific sex criminal? Like, it's literally like at every turn you're like did you, the Sum 41 guy came out and was like, my manager Greg Norton, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it just
that guy
never
who
ends.
managed all of the boy bands in the late 90s and early 2000s. Like, that was just his kink.
Yeah,
he just wanted four guys on a stool.
Is there no one in show business that's just in it for the love of the game? Like, it just
seems like no.
Like, what the fuck? Yeah, it just never ends. Jesus.
But I bet if you dug down, you'd find like, oh, in the stamp collecting community online, there's a nightmare person.
I guarantee it. It's literally in everything you like, the Klezmer Festival of Fife, I guarantee, is run by a narcissistic sociopath. Like, just a man who yells "scream, motherfucker" at someone holding a lute. Like, it's just like it's just like, here's the thing now is it's really like, not boring is the wrong word, but it's like every time one of those is revealed, you're just like, another one?
Yeah.
And also, like, when it's like recent, you're like, you learn nothing from fucking keep yourself to yourself, you fuck. Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially when it's happened in between like the big names, you know, the Harvey Weinsteins, and now, and you're like,
wait, what happened to Harvey Weinstein?
He's coming back.
Oh my God. Oh.
No, but between then and now, you think like, how have you not learned? How have you not learned this?
It's why, like, I also really enjoy, I'm almost 40, and what I'm really enjoying is seeing how so many of my friends have not changed in the 30 years I've known them. And it's so good, because like when they behave the way they behaved when they were 20, you're like, well, he's 20, but now that they're like almost 40, you're just like, this is just who you are. And I have to tell you, I wouldn't date you, but I'm really enjoying getting texts from you from time to time. Like, just like, fucking a friend of mine, he was like, my girlfriend got so angry at me, I just woke up one Sunday and took a bunch of ecstasy, and her parents were coming over, but they didn't notice. And I was just like, you are like this, like you are. This man is. You are a 40-year-old man. And first of all, the idea that you woke up and you're like, you know, it's the Lord's Day, so better take some pinkies and kiss the sky.
You've also got enough information there. You now know what they're going to be like at 60.
I don't think that's possible.
Oh, well, okay.
Here's the thing: is I had a couple of friends really go fucking bananas in their 30s. Like, everyone talks about like we're talking like prim and proper suburban people, and now we're talking like mid-pandemic smoking crack. A couple of people, one of whom told me about the term, oh, you know, this guy, he thinks he's an orgy master. And I was like, if you're going to enough orgies where there's someone who has declared dominance, you've gone too far down that rabbit hole.
And obviously also obese, because they're at the top of the pyramid.
Right.
You know?
You'd hope so. Yeah. Is that a pyramid you want to be the top of? You know what I mean?
No, very much
very
not
slick.
So yeah, you've told jokes. What is the kind of the biggest thing that people would know you from? Would it be America's Got Talent?
I think it would be America's Got Talent, which is for those who don't know, I did America's Got Talent the day. I don't know why I prefaced it that way. That sounded really douchey. For those who don't know, I'm a big honking deal. I was on television in America for 4 minutes during the pandemic. Don't touch me; you'll be burned by the power of my heat. So, I appeared on international talent show America's Got Talent the day a little thing called the COVID-19 pandemic kicked off. And which translated to me sitting in a room with a guy dressed like a chicken with a bunch of bottles of water, going outside to smoke cigarettes, continually being told by a PA, wash your hands. Because this is when we thought it was a hand thing. Remember that?
Yeah, we thought
we were just breathing into each other's mouths, just with the cleanest hands in the biz.
Happy birthday, just going, I'm safe.
Oh my God.
I'm so safe.
It was so surreal that day because I don't like the most not weird part of it was doing stand-up comedy. The weirder parts were me and Terry Crews having to kill time at the stage side for 45 minutes while a massive celebrity asked me if I get my clothes custom made because we were like roughly the same size and I liked his shoes and he's like, oh yeah, they're custom. Do you have any custom pieces? And me and his assistant literally just made fun of it. Like, what do you think, Ter? You came here in a limo and I literally took LA public transport. Yeah, these are custom Converse, you maniac. And then I had to go do stand-up comedy to nobody.
Oh my God.
But the judges, and so because we were there so long, because me and the guy dressed like a chicken were LA locals.
Yeah.
So for 9 hours, like it was like a Monty Python sketch because literally the door would open and there's like a trained pig and a bunch of cowboys walking behind the pig going, we're just gonna have this act go first. So and then it's like okay, and then close and then open and like a symphony's being they actually need to get back to Milan, slam, and then finally so it's me and a guy dressed like a pig. And like the crew has taken everything down except for the stage set. So I walk out and it's Simon Cowell, Sofia Vergara, Howie Mandel, and then the crew. And I am a wall between them going home to see their families at a pandemic. Are you ready to laugh? So I had to. So I did stand-up comedy. Howie Mandel I will take a bullet for because I was so freaked out. I just rambled for 10 minutes and he literally stopped me and he went, hey, you're going to do some stand-up comedy. And it literally was like, I can do stand-up. That's good. And then he turned to the judges and like, what he was doing as like brother to brother and clown was looking at them being like, we have to laugh for this guy. Oh. This is literally impossible. And you literally, after everything I said, he would go, like he would loudly laugh and look at them. They would laugh. And then I just started playing to the crew. And it was the fucking coolest thing to do. But it's this weird thing of like, in a weird way, I'm so happy it happened that way. Because if I had done just America's Got Talent, it would have been 2 episodes. I only did it because my manager at the time told me if I made it to the quarterfinals, I could do a year residency in Vegas.
Oh, wow.
And the guy who is currently doing it, his show is at 5 p.m. and he would fly in and fly out on the same day. Oh, wow. And I'm weirdly, I've done that once and I am obsessed with it. It is the funnest thing. I did it once for 1 gig. Yeah. No bag, just literally like phone charger, wallet, keys on the plane like a fucking executive. Oh, it was so cool.
I'm so obsessed with that now as well. That's incredible.
That's not even fair. I've done it twice. The other time was even fucking cooler because it was suit and a bag, broke my phone on the plane, landed at the hotel, guy came, fixed my phone, did the gig, took the suit off at the airport, street clothes back on the plane, and landed in Toronto. Oh, so fucking cool. It's the best. Yeah.
It's incredible.
I want self-driving cars so it will revolutionize the road for me because the only part of the road I hate are the hotel. Like I love being in different cities, but as soon as the show is done, I want like a trank dart to hit me in the neck and I want to be like thrown into the back of a trunk of a car and just like wake up in my house. You know what I'm saying?
Or just pneumatic tubes just all around the city.
Oh,
but you get knocked out first.
No, but I don't even want the tube aspect. I don't like because what if you because that's not going to work, especially if it's in Britain, the pneumatic tow because it's going to be half publicly funded, half privately funded.
So and you'll know which bits are which.
The first meter's real nice, and then it's just like, why the fuck did they make it out of papier mâché? And you're like. It was a Corbyn idea, but he never had power. Shut up!
Yeah, that is the dream, though. Just being able to leave a show and then just sleep almost immediately.
Yeah,
that's all I want.
Here's the other thing, because in the UK, I never drove when I lived here, and now I live in LA, and I've since bought a car. This will cycle back to America's Got Talent. Watch me do it.
Okay.
I now have a car, and the idea there's something about driving to a gig and immediately being able to leave. There's something about that where it feels so much more accessible. Like, it's one of those things where, like, worst comes to worst, I can go home right now. I can be in the car right now. They can't catch me. You can't run after a car. And before I had a car, I biked around Los Angeles and took public transport. So when I came out of America's Got Talent, the entire city was shut down. There were no Ubers. So I had to take LA public transport back to my house. And bear in mind, LA public transport at the height of them trying to clean it right before COVID was still pretty spicy. The day the city is shut down, it was wild. I remember one car of this thing, there was just loud music and it was like rammed filled with people, but the vibe was like, do not get in this car. And I went on to the next car. I should have gotten on the crowded car because the next car was just me, one family, and one guy who did not blink. When we got to LA Union Station, that guy got off with me and he walked up to a cop, called the cop the N-word, and punched him in the face. And then I watched 6 cops fight that one guy. If you've seen my act, I do have a bit about this, but this was true. And a cop ran over and was like, what happened? And I, for some reason, sort of explained, oh, that guy attacked that guy. And then, and I just went, and I just came from being on America's Got Talent. And the eyes on this officer who is watching someone fight 6 of his colleagues and him looking at me being like, oh my God, this guy's even crazier than that guy. And he was just like, you have a good night. And I went home and did my lockdown 1, which was just play video games and, let's be honest, smoke cigarettes.
I like the idea that when they eventually fought that guy down and asked him what he was doing, he told them he'd just come from an audition for The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Some other...
I think you're looking at The Golden Bachelor, my man. Do you guys have The Golden Bachelor over here?
No, what's The Golden Bachelor?
Golden Bachelor is they're senior citizens. Don't fuck with America.
Are you kidding me?
They will improve an idea.
Wow.
Even if it does not need to happen, they're putting cheese on that fucking fish taco.
How old are we talking?
75, baby.
Wow. Has anyone died mid-season?
Not yet, but there's a producer who's got a voodoo doll in that trailer. Like, there's a guy named Blake. You know what I mean?
Who's turning the thermostat down.
Exactly. He's doing that. He's all hopped up on that Liam Payne pink cocaine. Am I the only one that doesn't want to do drugs ever really in his life? But when I found out Liam Payne died from something called 2CB, aka pink cocaine, I was like, holy shit, they're going to get me back on the horse.
Yeah, it's like finding out the nerdiest guy at school is having a crazier time than you.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. You're just like, I should be crazier than him.
I mean, I have one super nerdy guy from our school that, like, I am still quiet. We can't find him on the internet whatsoever. No. Just last time a friend of mine saw him, he said it looked like he was loading a laser into his parents' basement. And I'm like, oh, fuck, we got to track this guy down. There is no way the internet has not turned him into a real delight.
Yeah.
Like, one of those people who has real strong opinions about women.
Yeah. He's trying to work in a shrink ray so he can shrink down Kamala Harris or something like that.
Oh, God, something terrifying.
Something terrifying.
I'm going to shrink down Michelle Obama and get to the bottom of what her gender is. I mean, what the fuck?
That's a lot. That's very loaded.
Did you not know? You don't know this current conspiracy theory?
Oh, no, I know this conspiracy theory. What an insane one.
Pardon me? For those of you that don't know, the extreme right-wing conspiracy theory is the reason why the Democratic Party is pushing the trans movement, which they're not, is because Michelle Obama is secretly a trans person. And this is based off of literally Alex Jones saying it one time. Some guy tracked it down and they're like, yeah, Alex Jones just said it once. And you're like, I hate human beings. I hate them. I hate them. Why do you believe that?
But they've said the same thing about Taylor Swift. They've said it about Lady Gaga. They've said it about Jamie Lee Curtis in the 80s.
I mean, the Jamie Lee Curtis one was crazy because I believed that for, I would say, 15 years.
But that just shows you.
And that was pre-internet. That and the Richard Gere gerbil asshole thing is insane. That was
insane.
More people knew about that than knew about Jesus at one point. Like there was a monastery that's actually built into the treetops of the Amazon jungle, and in one of the rooms was a guy that would be like, that Richard Gere thing's pretty fucked up, right?
Just waiting for people to come in. Like, can we talk about that?
Yeah, like, listen, you want to know what my mantra is? My mantra is fucking keep the hamsters in one room and Richard Gere in the other.
It's like we get one visitor every 6 months, and I have to talk to them about this.
I am also quietly obsessed with how fucking crazy homophobic was society, where they were like, look, I'll tell you what gay people are doing. They're putting gerbils in their asshole. Yeah. I remember talking to Chris Connors and this guy Andrew when I was 10, and they had just told me that Richard Gere puts gerbils in their asshole, and I was like, I've seen a gerbil that would just bite. He'd bite the outside of his asshole a bunch, and then you'd be like, we're not doing this.
Yeah. You have to stop the person and say, number one, you don't understand what gay people are, and number two, you don't understand what gerbils are.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they are not on board with that at all.
It was the 90s, and I was 10 in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah.
There was no mention of gay people. Like,
yeah.
I guarantee my grandmother went to her grave being like, that Liberace is going to find himself a nice wife. Even though I think Liberace was definitely dead a good solid 10 years before she did. But
I think his audience, it was the thing they found out later, much later. Like, he's been dead for a decade. Okay.
He could legally never say he was gay because he won a defamation lawsuit against a British newspaper. That
Really?
They were like, he's gay. And he was like, prove it, motherfuckers. And sued them and won. Because yeah. And that's why he had to protect it, because, like, I think it was something like The Sun in, like, the 60s or 50s. So it would be one of those things where it's like, if they had any evidence at all, I guarantee they would have been like, fuck it, get them, boys.
Yeah, they would have sued him. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, that's wild. Well, we've talked about some scandalous things.
Certainly. We're only on question one.
Let's look into one of your scandals. Or not even a scandal, a bit of information. We like to do the Instagram deep dive. We're going to jump into one of your older posts.
Go on.
From Instagram. Here's a post, and we want to hear the story for this. For people listening, if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, can you explain what is in this image? What is this image of? It's of you.
So this image is of me. This was a few days after I was going down a hill on my bicycle in Los Angeles, California, and the handlebars snapped in two, and I landed violently on the ground and was nearly run over by a bus. Now, this is the day of the surgery I had. So for those of you who can see it, there's this crazy ass contraption on my arm. So that's a brace, and then that's a crazy ice pad that's literally massaging ice water over my shoulder, because the whole thing was basically, we need to keep the muscles as loose as possible, because there's a bunch of screws in the top of my humerus bone.
Oh, wow.
So the long and the short of it is, I broke my shoulder. The humerus bone was a straight break through, which meant that how do I say this? Essentially, some bones vascularize. There's blood flowing to them. That's one of them, is the humerus bone. And the way that had broken was they weren't sure it was ever going to vascularize again.
Oh.
This surgery was in an attempt to save my left arm. If that surgery hadn't worked, I would be clapping like this right now. So right there, those eyes, I thought my eyes were open, but the reason why they're not is I am on Oxycontin. I had to have earlier this day, I had a conversation. This is, by the way, this is a year after this happened. Sorry, because I was like 17th of January. That was the day. And I was like, yeah, no, this is the anniversary of it. So they had to give me, what was the dose? The dose was, you can take 1 Oxycontin every 4 hours or 2 every 6. Oh. And I said, that's a lot, right? And she went, yeah. And I was like, am I at risk of getting addicted? And she was like, yes. But you have to take it because we need to basically keep your body so relaxed, because like the wrong move at this point in the healing process could rip the screw out. Something could happen. Oh. And it was nuts. Coming off of it was really, really odd, because it was this sort of thing of like, I don't want to get addicted. I don't know what this is going to be like. And I had just like one moment of feeling deeply depressed. And then I was like, no, be more depressed, being addicted to heroin. And I was like, yep, that's true. But my favorite, so Chris Martin, the comedian, not the singer of Coldplay, took this photo. And basically the hospital wouldn't release me unless, and this is in the middle of COVID, they were like, you have to have someone with you for the next 12 hours because we're giving you the amount of opioids we're giving you, you're at risk of an overdose almost immediate. And I was like, God, you guys know how to party. So Chris took me home, and we literally watched the David Arquette documentary about him being a professional wrestler.
Yeah, that'll keep you awake.
It was fucking great. It just took me completely out of what was going on. And I remember 2 hours after I was home, we had an alarm. I could take the first Oxycontin, and I took it. And I remember saying to Chris, I don't think it's working. And he went, it is, mate. You're lying down. And I apparently just like, and he was like, what the hell? Yeah.
That instant.
Crazy. Yeah.
Holy hell. Because when I first saw this picture and saw that it was to do with the bike crash, I thought it was just the bike is wrapped around you.
No.
I thought for a moment, I thought that was a bicycle seat right in your shoulder.
I just fucking spilled Diet Coke all over my fucking shoulder like an asshole.
Perfect.
Well, get it on the air.
The question is,
got it on the sofa slightly. But
does you know how to zoom in on that and do that? Show it again in slow motion.
Get it in there, baby.
A great thing about this podcast is sometimes I'll say, oh, Ewan, put this thing up, and people have messaged and going, I love that Ewan never does that.
Claire is currently left away, so get a wet rag or write a note that says John Hastings, spilly bitch. Thank you so much.
Please call your new show that Spilly Bitch.
Yeah. We're spilling the tea and the Diet Coke.
It's for you, not for the couch.
I got both. We got both.
Listen, you've left a lasting memory and a stain. And
Exactly.
that's what I expected from John Hastings on this.
And yeah, no, and so here's the thing with the American healthcare system.
Yeah.
Is it's bullshit that you have to pay for it, but because you pay for it,
It's a lot better.
you get some shit. Like they were like, it's one of those ones where I was like, because the surgery was literally, they like figured out there was a problem. They're like, so you'll be here tomorrow. And in my head, I'm still used to like socialized medicine where they'd be like, this is a big problem. So let's cross those fingers. Hey, all right. and it was the next day. And then they sent me home with that ice pack. And I was so obsessed with not getting ripped off by the medical system. I was like, how much is this costing? And finally a nurse had to be like, you need to stop worrying about that. We need you to just have an arm first. And I was like, okay.
Good point.
But yeah, took that home and that thing was so fucking quality. I remember I woke up in so much pain and like basically had to drag myself over to the sofa and I strapped it in and it was like literally it was like feeling someone like activate a button that relaxed every muscle in your body. Like it was like this cool soothing water like perfectly massaging over the air. Oh, it was unbelievable.
That's so good.
I have no idea what it's called. Yeah,
because I know people say if you get a cut or if you get a bruise, hold it under a cold tap for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You hold something under a cold tap for 15 seconds. You're like, this is torture.
This is boring.
This is boring.
Yeah.
This is awful.
I want to have a scar. I'm cool. Yeah. If I don't have a scar, how will people know I'm straight?
All right, Liberace, calm down, please. I like that Liberace has got more and more scars.
Yeah, get it? Yeah, I'm tough.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a pretty damn good.
What's the like? Have you ever
Instagram
pulled up
post.
someone's like Instagram post and it was like they forgot that it was up there and they're like, no, not her, no.
Not yet, but I'm looking forward
that's all
to
I
that
want
day.
now.
Some people we've brought
Claire
stuff up and they're like,
has
There was someone, I can't remember who it was, but there was someone who was like, oh, this is something to do with like my ex-boyfriend.
oh really? Oh, there have been
exes.
exes, yes. So, all right, I forget everything on this podcast.
I mean, you could have pulled up one from my first wedding, and when they say first wedding,
That's a real clue.
That means it's not going so great now. If you say first wedding and you're still with the person, that means you're cheating. That's what I've learned. Someone write that down. That's I'm doing that tonight at the Monkey Barrel. See you there.
Nice little bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, our next section we like to talk about. Do you remember the first joke that you wrote? So we've had some fun. We had huge Davies on
I
last
do remember for a period of time early on, I would always point out that the people in the front row were staring right at my crotch.
Oh, yeah?
And I own that only to just say that we all have to start somewhere, and it's never a good place. It's never.
No.
Yeah.
You would never do any of the things that you said in the first year or two
You'd
of your
hope
stand-up
not.
again.
I mean, this being Britain, there are guys that literally wrote 20 minutes and they ain't changed it, and that shows. Like, I'm not going to say who it is, but there is a guy who has a Basic Instinct joke, and all he has done is change the medium of which Basic Instinct is presented so he can then do the bit.
Yeah. Saw it in the theater, saw it on VHS.
It's literally
saw it on TV.
I've seen it
Saw
go
it
from
streaming.
DVD to streaming. You know what they need to put on Netflix? Basic Instinct. When he did it too, I was like, come on! That you have the awareness to change the medium shows you could write another bit. Badass.
I remember having to do the intro for, Michael Winslow from Police Academy, did the sound effects. He came to Ireland twice. And I kind of did his little intro at a comedy festival, and I was doing a couple of years later. And at the end of the first festival, I had to announce the end. And coming in 2013, the Police Academy reboot. And then 2 years later, he was there, and I did his intro. And at the end of the intro, the piece of paper he gives you to read out, I said, "And coming in 2017." And it was like he was just trying to make a grassroots Police Academy remake happen by just announcing it over and over again to his fans, like, "Hey, it's coming. It has to be coming, right?" Never came.
I just remember walking by that guy in the Loft Bar in 2012, and I heard him say, and that's when I gave them Hendrix. And I was just like, I'm very embarrassed for all of us. There's nothing better than an egotistical comedian talking about their bits like they're weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I gave him De Niro or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? You're like,
I gave him this bit.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we know that's your best bit. That's why you
exactly.
closed on it for the last 20 years.
Exactly.
We know.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, it's the one bit. Yeah. Oh my god, I do miss. Never really got over here, but in Canada when I first started, everyone had big closers because it was the leave back. It was sort of the holdover from 80s comedy, and they all worked bar shows, so they all had like music and weird, like they would like have secret costumes and shit like that. It was so fucking embarrassing. Like it was one of those things where like people don't realize the importance of American alternative comedy, because some of the things that passed for comedy in a pre Dane Cook Louis C.K. world were fucking horrible.
So bad. I've seen such insane stuff.
Oh, I mean, Ireland. I can only imagine what Ireland must be like. Those guys that like have never left Ireland and still talk about,
Still talk about the smoking ban, which came in 2004.
Oh,
and
my
I
God.
see people talking about like, I miss the smoking, huh? No, it's been 20 years.
I mean, there was a real, you could tell the quality of an Irish act for a period of time about how much material they had about how the Ireland owed the EU a lot of money. And at a certain point, it was just like, mate, the debt has been paid off. It's 2019. It's like the problem now is Brexit, you fucking maniac. Like
Focus on that. But now they're on the Brexit all these years later.
Oh, thank God.
I love hearing people talk about Brexit. Oh God, I did remember seeing a show, or no, it was Ryan Cullen. Ryan Cullen told me a story where he went to see a show in Dublin, and there was a comedian who'd put on his own show, and then decided at the very end of the show to have like a serious talk and thank everyone for being there. Throughout his show, he had somebody who was a DJ who was doing like music breaks. So he'd do like a punchline and go sounds or sounds. And so he gets up on stage and he's at the end and he's just like, I just want to thank everyone for coming here. You know, it's been such a very difficult year. Everyone knows that, you know, obviously my dad died a few months ago. The guy accidentally pressed the button. And I went,
It's the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life. That's the greatest thing ever. Everyone dance. Everyone be merry. What?
Everyone looked back at the DJ guy.
Joy. Oh, good for us all.
And he on stage just went, dude. And then went on with the rest of it like it didn't happen.
Oh, my God. Again, there was nothing better than a comedian being saccharine and so just like fucking emo and then not remembering they need to be a comedian.
Yeah.
Like, you know that's the funniest bit in the world if that was intentional.
That's our favorite bit. That's the bit we want to get to. So we have some questions for you from last week's guest.
Go ahead.
Our last week's guest was Huge Davies. So we've got a clip we're going to show you now of 3 questions. So let's get to the clip.
Go ahead.
People on audio, you'll hear the audio.
I cannot hear the audio.
We're not hearing the audio.
You fucked up.
Oh, there we go. We'll go back to the start, everybody. Hey,
Good
Huge
afternoon,
Davies.
John Hastings. Here are your 3 questions for.
Can I
this
pause for 1
afternoon's
second?
podcast.
Huge Davis has such a good voice, but I'm surprised every time about how deep it is. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it's almost at Attenborough levels. You know what I mean?
It's really, it really commands
Just
the room.
because this is a weird thing of because he was like a newer comedian when I was a comedian in London. In my mind, he's perpetually 21. He's probably like 37, but like you know what I mean? Like he's like,
But in your brain.
in my brain, he was like, yeah, you know, he's 6, and you're like, no, mate, he's probably a year younger than you.
God.
Question number 1. Have you ever seen the bottom of a crane? And if you haven't, why hasn't anyone? No one's ever seen them being transported or built. What are they hiding from us? You know, what's going on? Question number 2. What would you do in The Purge? During The Purge. Question number 3. Batman uses fear of bats against the criminals of Gotham City by dressing as a bat and beating up poor and mentally ill people. What is your biggest fear? And could you weaponize it against street-level criminals in Edinburgh? And those are your 3 questions.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, Huge. Right, before we get into anything else, we got to ask, eventually after you've finished this show, you will get a message from Claire during the week. You'll have to send in a clip for next week's guest.
I understand.
The thing that we like to ask is, how long between asking for the clip and then getting the clip do you think it's taken?
If it isn't done right away, Claire's sending 3 emails. Like if I don't do it as soon as that's done, strap in for right before the hey John, we're gonna need that right now. And that is done because and it's, by the way, it's been a big improvement in my life, which is I just respond to emails right away now.
Yeah.
Because I got news for
It's
you.
great.
I'm not remembering.
No.
Yeah. How many people do you have to follow up with to get yeah, of course. Yeah,
So many people.
No one. Here's the thing. People act like, oh, it's an email. I'll get back to it. You're not getting back to it. Also, Anyone who has more than 200 unread emails on your phone, you're an asshole. Just sit there. Just sit there and delete all the spam. There's 5 emails. But everyone's like, all those people are like, I'm declaring email bankruptcy. All you're saying is you just decided you don't want to own up to some of your responsibilities. Like, just Jesus Christ. You're getting 6 important emails in a month. The rest are spam. It's not hard to be like, delete.
Unsubscribe. Why don't people do that? Just unsubscribe for some of these stupid emails you're getting.
Oh,
It's
also,
right down the bottom.
You know what I've started doing? I just start giving fake emails to businesses, and they hate it. I do it overtly. Yeah, like I was one of the hotels I was staying at this week. They were like, "Oh, give us your email to sign up to the Wi-Fi," and I just wrote the hotel's name, my name. John stays at this hotel, and they're like, "Is that your email?" And I was like, "Yep, that's my email." Yeah, enjoy sending stuff to that. Okay, moving backwards. What would be my biggest fear right now? That's just so abstract.
So his question was, Batman uses the fear against the criminals of Gotham City by dressing up as a bat and beating up poor mentally ill people. What's your biggest fear? And could you weaponize it against street level criminals in Edinburgh? Oh, also, how long do you think you think it was straight away, the Hugh?
No, I feel like Claire had to do a couple of like, hey, would you mind getting to this? Any chance you're going to get to this today? How many was it?
That's fine.
I emailed him 3 times and I texted him 3 times.
6 communications? That's madness.
We got it about half an hour before the podcast.
Come on.
Yes. So about a week. Nearly a week.
What's the
He's a busy boy.
Busy boy.
we're all comedians. No one's that busy. I'm sorry. Like everyone, there's times where I'm like literally, and it's the British are the most guilty of just the like, you don't know the burden of the clown. I was in Soho Theatre until 1 a.m. and I only got there at midnight. I'm so tired. It's like, gee, like just. It's not. Life is not that difficult. Like I got news. Like the train was delayed, but I still made my gig. And okay, what's my biggest fear? I've conquered them all. I was really afraid of air. No, what? I just have a lot of anxiety about a bunch of things because I was nearly hit by a bus. Yeah, so I'll just go with, I would use my anxiety against the criminals of Edinburgh, where I would just, before we do everything, I would just think through I would explain to them all the things that could go wrong with their plan.
Yeah.
And no one's really expecting how detailed I'm going to be and also how specific the problems could be. That person could find out they know your mom. Well, my mom's dead. Well, that's what you think. You know what I'm saying?
Just really stress them out.
Just stress them
completely
out.
Undercut.
Absolutely.
First thing you say is, "Are you about to start crying?" Like,
Yeah.
what?
No, because here's the thing is I have like deep catastrophization and problems with hypervigilance. And I was speaking with my therapist, or as I call it, my friend. And it was very interesting. She's like, yeah, but like that's not going to happen. And I was like, no, you don't understand. This is based off of the fact that like stuff like this has happened. And like she was like, well, give me an example. And I was like, oh, well, I was like severely bullied when I was in elementary school, and I reported it to the principal. And the principal was like an old school tough love guy. Oh. And he decided that because I was taller, I must have been lying. So he just put me in detention with all of the people that kept physically attacking me. And then when I told my mom, he attempted to have parents banned from the school. What's the best is at the end of that school year, by the way, he was, when I look back, clearly fired for something else, because like the day before school ended, one of the secretaries came over the loudspeaker and went, principal will not be at school tomorrow. And it was like clearly a signal, because I remember my teacher at the time had this big smile of like, oh, so that's how that ended.
Oh my God.
Maybe beep his name. I don't know if he's alive, but that was genuinely his name, and I don't want to fucking.
Well, let's see if Ewan does it. Did Ewan beep it, everybody?
Yeah,
We don't
and
know.
if not, his name. He was a very tall man with gray hair. I'm gonna say allegedly an alcoholic, probably very mean to his wife. This kid Matt Lee once claimed he saw him at a barbecue drinking wine out of a glass. Remember how kids have like weird, like he was like, I'm like, okay, clearly your parents were talking about how that's weird. Like you're 11, you don't know what things are. Yeah.
Yeah, he came with a car, but it was his previous car.
Yeah,
Isn't that
exactly.
weird,
Yeah, it's like you're 11. Yeah, he doesn't properly actually fund his 401k. Okay, so clearly your dad's talking about this guy in the car. You're a 10-year-old.
You're just absorbing everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. Okay. That could work. I think that could work.
Number
as a way
2,
to
what was his
terrify
second
everyone else.
question?
Second question was, what would you do during the purge? So John Hastings is in the
Hide.
purge.
Have you watched the Purge movies?
Yeah, they're terrifying. Hide is appropriate.
Yeah, but here's the thing with they never do in any of those movies.
Yeah.
Oh, I better just duck into this hole. Like it's like one of those. Also, the Purge is not taking into account. I read this very good book called Humankind that is actually like, no, humans are actually like on the average very good. The thing with human beings is we remember something that interrupts a pattern more than we just acknowledge a pattern. Where like the guy is like, you understand that this whole society was actually built by people and it all actually does exist in cooperation. And if you look at the majority of people actually do want things to go along to get along. So I actually don't think the Purge would work very well in that like, people always act where it's like, shit, it's going to get fucking crazy. Like, look at the riots in the UK in August where a bunch of real fucking assholes kicked off and sucked. But here's what the majority of people did where they're like, oh, fuck these fucking... Like, no, people were expecting... more people to join in, and everyone was like, no, mate, I'm not fucking joining in with my dad's friend Terry and all the guys who are always in front of the Weatherspoons but never inside.
Yeah.
Oh, those were the most embarrassing. First of all, I have stayed at every single hotel featured in the news footage from those riots. Every single one.
Yeah.
And I literally watching it being like, I remember bombing in that town. I remember not doing well in that town. I'm like, I understand because I was having to perform for these fucking necklace assholes. Yeah. Nothing worse than an English person who feels entitled to an opinion. Nothing that's how fucking empires are created because just one of those. They're just nothing.
Not
worse.
informed at all, but just like I think I'd like an opinion.
Actually, Ireland is ours. Is it? You fucks.
I literally had that during the week. I had a guy from Talk Broadband come into our building, knock on the front door, and I was like, I just didn't want to deal with him, so I just said, we gotta go. We're moving house, so we're going to Ireland, so we can't get the internet, just to get him away from the fucking door. And the guy was like, oh well, actually, Talk runs all of the internet for Talk in the UK, so even if you're moving to Ireland, it'll be fine. And
No,
I was like,
it won't.
It won't, because Ireland is not part of the UK. And he went, are you sure? And I went, am I sure? Yeah, I'm sure.
Listen, I don't go in for the whole thing of Americans are dumb, but there's nothing better than when an American is just like, I'm proper old school Irish. I'm, from on the Republic side, Belfast. And you're like, that is, my man, first of all, I would love for you to go there and say that because you are not prepared for the silence and then the violence.
Yeah. So quickly together.
So
Almost
quickly
no
together.
gap.
Oh, it's wonderful.
This guy also said to me, he's like, oh, so what part of Ireland are you from? I'm guessing from your accents, Belfast. And I went, well,
No, mate.
No, from Dublin. And he said, where? And I said, Dublin. And he goes, never heard of that.
Yes, you have.
What?
It's the other one.
This guy was 20 years old or 21. This is insane. It's the other one. It's great.
As well. No, I got news for everyone from Cork. No one's heard of Cork, bros. I understand that you're all, but that's the thing with every country has the one place where they're like, yeah, but what about us? And you're like, Texas is the Cork of America. And especially when you live in America, like, Texas, fuck yeah. And you're like, you're exactly the same as every other place in this fucking country. Stop acting like we got big things. Everything in America is big, you assholes. What are you talking about?
Don't step on me. Nobody likes being stepped on. Come on.
Yeah, what are you talking about? We're really we took our land from people that were already on it. So did everyone. Yeah. That's how this place was discovered, you fucks.
Well, hiding during the purge, I think, is a good idea. Just go into the woods.
Yeah, just hide in a hole. Lock your door. I don't understand.
I mean, I think the first movie's about that. They're like, let's lock down our house, but then they open the doors. That was the dumb part. Just stay.
Yeah,
stay indoors.
This is the other thing about movies, because people are always like, oh, that's like, that would happen. It's like, no, it wouldn't.
No,
it wouldn't. Do you remember COVID? Do you remember COVID when we all just like
all chilled out for the first year?
We all chilled out for the first year. And by the way, like the other thing is because of the internet just amplifies certain voices. We also the vocal minority that was like, what the fuck? It's like presented as it was 50-50. At most, it's 30% of only one country's population. Everywhere else, it's about 10%. And by the way, some of the legitimate criticism of that side is drowned out by a bunch of fucking assholes talking about demons and the vaccine.
And question number 1 was, have you ever seen the bottom of a crane?
I have.
If you haven't, why
I was
hasn't
so
anyone?
excited. I have seen the bottom of a crane a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And also
quite wide blocks. They'll have heavy thing, obviously, to keep
actually,
it down.
I've seen them one time building a crane in Toronto.
Yeah.
And I saw one time them trying to fix a crane, and I could see the energy on everyone's body was one guy was told not to operate the crane, clearly operated it, and now it was broken. Like I could just, there's the energy. I remember there was this one guy with silver hair at the bottom with a clipboard looking up, and he had those eyes of a boss like, I was going home early today.
I told him not to let Steve.
Fucking Caleb, man.
Caleb ruins a crane.
Oh, yeah, Caleb, he's a real crane ruiner.
I think comedians are probably the likely ones to see a crane because we're out late at night, and I feel like they always get built overnight.
Absolutely. And also, it's one of those things where if you're also just really, if you're moving around in your new city, you're also just more likely to be walking around looking at shit in a way that like you wouldn't in a city that you live in.
Yeah. You just stare at the ground and walk.
Exactly.
Are you going to spill this something? Well done. Congratulations.
Did the crane move.
Oh, no, that guy's
Isn't it weird that the bow, bow, bow is invented by a guy? I know Cypher Sounds. I like literally was listening to him being like, yeah, I invented that. And you're like, oh yeah, someone would have had to invent that. Like
the sound. Okay, so we've answered those questions. Thank you very much again to Huge. We appreciate those, and you'll be sending us in some apparently.
Or will I?
Very quick. So we've had a lot of fun today. We've talked about a lot of stuff. Lovely to hear. Huey Mandel is your spirit
Howie
animal.
Mandel. Who the fuck's Huey Mandel?
We don't have Howie Mandel over here. I know in America he had like an animated show and he was in a movie.
It's called Bobby's World, and maybe you want to fucking take that tone out of your fucking mouth, man.
I just don't get Howie Mandel. He wasn't he the host of
Deal or No
Deal
Deal?
or No Deal over there?
Yeah. No. He's the host of Deal or No Deal, and that Noel is first of all, like, it hasn't like a bunch of crazy shit come out about that guy that like he drives a taxi cab so he can go into the bus lanes or something like that.
Yeah, he seems to be insane. He seems to be an insane guy.
I gotta say this about British celebrities. Every single one of them seems like they're doing stuff because like one guy told them they can't. Fuck you. Yeah.
You could tell me I can't make a guy get into a big pink costume and call himself Mr. Blobby for the next 30 years. I'll do it.
Is one of the most insane things that is a cultural icon of this fucking island, and it's like
Christmas #1
what
in the 90s.
is this?
Yeah. I don't know how to explain it. I know there was a theme park for a little bit of time, but I don't know how do you explain to other people what Mr. Blobby is.
Yeah. And you come from Ireland where they have the Late Late Show toy show, which is another absolute maniac endeavor. Yeah. Like the entire Ireland. Let's watch a disinterested man dislike children.
Yes. A show that children would never in a million years watch. It has nothing interesting on it. They usually just have a random woman who'll be like, I want to talk about how I speak with angels. Yeah. And then they'll have Jimmy Carr on to do some jokes right after it. And it's a weird tone. But every November, they have an episode called The Late Late Toy Show where they show toys to loads of Irish kids and they review them. And it's to try and help kids of Ireland choose their toys for Christmas. It is a show that shouldn't exist anymore, but it still does. And it's amazing.
I will say this about The Late Late Show, which I think is the weirdest criticism. Patrick Keelty is actually good at hosting a show.
Yeah.
Therefore, I do not like him being on The Late Late Show because the other three guys blatantly did not want to be there. Like the last guy who turned out there was a giant payment scandal. It's like, I could have told you that. This guy, clear. Like he would interview people just like wide-eyed, just like... There is an episode where he's talking with Chief O'Brien about Martin McGuinness and the Troubles, and I've never seen someone seem less interested in his own genuine inquiry about like a very formative part of Britain. He's literally just sort of like, oh, do you think he was a good man? And you're like, sir, are you okay? Like, it's like he died, but they just keep electroshocking him back to life. Yeah.
It's like everyone on that show is trying to get fired and has not been able to do that for decades.
Because who was it? Because it's Patrick Keelty. I can't remember the guy before him.
Ryan Tuberty.
It was Ryan Tuberty. And then the guy before him was the best one because he literally seemed like he hated the entire endeavor.
Pat Kenny.
It was Pat Kenny.
Hated it.
Hated it. And was there for years.
And hated it. And every time they would do the toy show, he hated talking to children. He had no...
He
was
chat.
Just an Alan Partridge type character.
Yeah.
And kids would come in and be like, this is my favourite new dollhouse. And he goes, oh, very nice house for the doll to live in. Can we move on now? Like, he would just no charm,
There's something about non-American chat shows where it does really seem like the producer has the host's family kidnapped and they now just need to do this. Like,
yeah, they're so over-invested.
Yeah, it's just, and Patrick Tuberty, by the way, is giving an interview. There's a payment scandal with RTE in Ireland, and he's giving an interview that I would like to call I Definitely Did It.
Yeah.
He's in a car park, and you can literally see in his eyes, he's just like, I like money. What's your fucking problem? Oh, it's really good.
He's like, this just means my contract is up. I'll get paid again for my contract ending early, and I'm going to go to the UK and make 10 times the amount of money.
Is that what he did?
That's what he did. He now lives in London, I think, and does a radio show. And I don't know what else he does.
Just laughs, probably.
Probably laughs. Sounds a great time. Do you have anything you'd like to plug for the future that people
I have
should come and
8
see?
specials that are coming out this year. The first 4.
So many specials. Every time I go online, there's a new special just launched coming out as well.
Well, because there's one a month, and then we're in a bit of an editing phase. Because I got 3 crowd work ones that are going to come out at some point in November. It's looking like later and later November, but we'll do it. We're going to get there. Yeah. And then one final one in December. The entire method to my madness, which I keep explaining to everyone, is the entire world is moving online. Yeah. I needed to spike that YouTube algorithm. Yeah. YouTube really favors long form content released at a rhythm. Yeah. So I just did it. It was like it's the only time I've had a plan in my career. Yeah. I literally came up with it a foot away from where we're sat right now. On the Cowgate, I did an hour in 2022 that was like very much lauded, but I looked at I knew how Edinburgh worked pre-COVID. Yeah. And then I was looking how it worked post-COVID, and I was like, oh, we're going to need to make some moves here. And I went, okay, if you use these festivals properly in the next 3 years, originally I was going to do 3 specials in a year. Yeah. And then we looked and we had extra footage and a little bit more money. And then I went, oh, I'd actually like to release the Edinburgh versions of. So now there's 8. Just go to @John Hastings on YouTube. They're all there. Please watch them. Some of the material repeats, but it's in different environments and stuff like that. Just check it out.
Which I think is really nice to see. I think it's something very rare that people get to see different material, the same material in a different room, a different vibe, a different energy, or a different order. It changes it.
And what's also weird is it's like the one that I was like, I don't know which one's going to take, and the one that so far has got the most views by far was literally 2 cameras in Monkey Barrel 2 on the day after I came back from having COVID, and it was like I'm clearly flustered, and it was just a weird energy in the room. But there's something about it where that's the one that people keep clicking on and watching. And then the other ones where I'm like, there's 8 cameras, and we're doing all these cool moves, and we really spent time editing. And people are like, yeah, it's just funny what people react to. Yeah.
You know who's watching those clips? Huey Mandel. Oh, did I get it right? Huey Mandel. Is that the right name?
No, it was Howie Mandel. You fucked it again.
Howie Mandel. Yeah. All right. Well, no deal, Howie. Okay. So if you enjoyed today's episode, thank you for coming along. People can follow you online. Where can they follow you?
@the John Hastings on all fine social medias. @the John Hastings on everything from Facebook to YouTube to TikTok to Twitch. I don't think it is that on Twitch.
Whatever the next thing will be.
Yeah, the next thing is there's going to definitely be a special out December 15th, and there will be 3 crowdwork specials out probably by the last week of November.
And whatever the next social media platform is, you'll be on that
Blue
as well.
Sky, LinkedIn.
Just make up a random word.
Goose piss.
Goose piss.
Yeah. Drink
Wonderful. Please do follow us on Goose Piss. Yeah. A wonderful platform. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review. Please share it online. It massively helps us out. There are episodes every Wednesday coming out, so please look forward to more episodes in the future. Also, if you want to see comedy at Monkey Barrel Comedy, come along. There's shows every night. We'd love to see you there. But from myself, from John Hastings, from the wonderful crew, have a wonderful week, and goodbye. Boo! Boo!
There's something hiding under the ice, imitation of a sound. There's something standing behind the door.